Okay, so today I will be talking about the Minoans and the Phoenicians. And the purpose of this is to connect it to this idea of the Mediterranean Sea in the classical world. Now, technically, our Minoans and our Phoenicians are going to be around before the classical period, but we are going to include them here as we kind of make our way to the Mediterranean and make our way to Greece starting tomorrow. So our first group of people that we're talking about are the Minoans here in the Mediterranean. Now I've provided this larger map here so you can see where we're talking about. So we're in this portion of the Mediterranean, that's Crete, and they are going to be one of the first international traders that are around as far back as about 2000 BC, and they're going to control trade in the eastern Mediterranean up to about 1400. So really their trading empire, I guess I wouldn't call it an empire, but they're trading, the people they're trading with are here in the eastern Mediterranean. So that's where they're operating out of. So if we take a closer look at this map, you can see we've got Crete there, very close to Greece, and we will mention them a bit later when we talk about Greece. We'll also label that map tomorrow in class, so don't worry about it right now. What you should have out, hopefully, are some notes. We're going to take a little bit of notes here, and that's about it. You'll just take this in your notebook. So here we go. So as far as the Minoans go, their trade is really going to start this idea of a cultural exchange throughout the Mediterranean. So again, that comes back to this area in the fact that they're trading all sorts of goods throughout. They're trading pottery, swords, figurines, metals throughout the Mediterranean, and this is really bringing the Mediterranean together and starting that cultural exchange and cultural diffusion in that region. As far as their capital city, they were from the island of Knossos, the capital city was Knossos on the island of Crete. And it would have looked something like this on the left, although there are still ruins in Crete, so if you ever make your way out there, you can check out the ruins of Knossos. Now, as far as how these people lived, they were particularly peaceful, a peaceful group of people. We know that because there were no fortifications. They didn't have walls protecting their city. Now that was probably also due to the fact that they were an island and they were probably difficult to attack. However, they also are going to have a limited amount of weapons. I did mention they traded swords, but really this was not something that they needed to worry about. So warfare was not really something they worried about too much until possibly the end of their civilization. Okay, so now I'm going to shrink this down and this, and you're going to see basically you've got a lot of what we know about the Minoans, were in their painted walls. So within their city, they have these depictions throughout. Oftentimes, they were of graceful, athletic poses. They also included nature, that definitely being part of their climate, being able to be outside and one with nature was part of their culture. And then also they depicted women often as well in their paintings, and often depicted in a religious role as well. So that was something that they had in their paintings. Other things, they did have animal sacrifice as well as potentially human sacrifice, although that wouldn't support our idea of a peaceful civilization, but that was just one of the things that they took part in. All right, I got to throw this guy in here too. This is the Minotaur, which is part of their mythology. This half man, half bull, although in this picture he looks more like a monster. This is a modern image of the Minotaur. But this is one of the legends that goes along with the island. And when we talk about the Mycenaeans a little bit in the next couple days, we might come back to the story here because he ties in with Greek mythology in that regard. Okay, as far as the fall of the Minoans, we're not totally sure as to how this happened. We know that it happened probably around 1200 BC. It could have been natural disasters. It could have been overpopulated, and they struggled and ended up starving to death. Or it could have been invaders. And again, potentially the Mycenaeans, which is a group that we'll be talking about in the next couple days here. But regardless, they are at their end, and the next great international traders are going to come on in, and those are the Phoenicians. So here we have the Phoenicians. They started up around 1100 BC. We actually may have read about this a little bit when we talked about Mesopotamia, because they're kind of right in the mix there. So in this area of Phoenicia, as it was called. But they are going to be around in present-day Lebanon. Some of their key cities are Byblos, we've got here, Tyre, okay, and Sidon, which is right here. So these are kind of some of their big cities that start up, but then they are going to be the founders of many cities along the Mediterranean. And if I can zoom in on this map here, let's see where we're at. So we have the Phoenicians right in here. That's really all that they started out as. But as if you remember, the Assyrians, back when we talked about Mesopotamia being conquered all the time, these people are affected by it. So Phoenicia, the Phoenicians said, "All right, we're out of here." So they're gonna start being the founders of these colonies along the North African coast, a little bit in Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica, a little bit in Spain too. So you're going to see these cities that they are going to be the founders of. Also to note, they're the first group of sailors that are going to go beyond the Strait of Gibraltar. So you can see that taking place right here as they're going to go out into the Atlantic Sea. So they are going to expand beyond the Eastern Mediterranean and focus more so on the Western Mediterranean. Now, one of the things about the colonies that they are going to found, they're all about 30 miles apart. So as they're expanding, you're going to have and you see that already as it's labeled, and that's because that's about how far you could sail in a day, about 30 miles, and that's why they would have these different commercial cities taking place there. And being international traders, they're going to be trading all sorts of goods as well. So wine, weapons, precious metals, glass, ivory, dye. So quite a variety of things taking place here in the Phoenician Empire. And again, this is international trade starting to develop. So trading with most of the world. So if they're going to be great traders, they need to be great shipbuilders, and they certainly were that. They are going to advance in terms of shipbuilding. Again, they're certainly not as advanced as the age of exploration. They're not sailing, far out into the ocean, but it is certainly a step ahead of previous trading ships. Now, one of the other things that they are known for is their alphabet. The Phoenician alphabet, they come up with symbols that represent sounds. So this is this idea of a phonetic alphabet. So you have one sign that represents a sound. And this is going to make writing a lot easier and a lot easier to learn, because you learn the symbols and then you apply those to the words that you're speaking. So our language is a phonetic language, and it is quite simple to learn, as opposed to having these little images that are going to represent all sorts of things and having thousands of symbols. This is going to simplify the alphabet. So many people are going to adopt this alphabet, and it's going to really help with their trading that goes on. So the merchants, they needed to record transactions, so these symbols are going to make it a lot easier. The Greeks are going to adopt and kind of change it and adjust it into their own form, but this will continue to have an impact on trade throughout the Mediterranean. So that's going to wrap it up for today. There are no questions that you need to answer, but ultimately, you've been introduced now to trade, international trade in the Mediterranean, and hopefully have a good understanding a little bit about the Minoans and about the Phoenicians being great traders, and then of course the alphabet being invented by the Phoenicians. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.